Stump Station episode 12. And today's guest here in Dubai, incredible man, the founder of Athlete Fitness. He is all over HYROX, won Sharjah, podium in Dubai. Michael, welcome to episode 12.
Thank you for having me.
Honestly, man, I'm so excited to go over not only you as a business, you as a brand, but most importantly, what you're doing for HYROX as well and functional fitness in the Middle East, which I think is amazing. And what you're doing here is pretty fucking awesome. And especially with your brand as well.
Yeah, no, functional fitness seems to be definitely on the rise. It's popping off. So it's a good space to be in at the minute.
Man, I agree. And like with what we call functional fitness, it's growing, it's changing. We always used to think functional fitness was just CrossFit, which I love, but it's not. It's not just CrossFit. It's not just the crazy stuff or the muscle ups, the handstand walks. No, it's something that anyone can do.
Yeah.
And you're really like a good ambassador for that with you as a brand on, whether that be social media, the gym, or now HYROX, right? Which you've seen the most success in.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, HYROX has obviously been in Dubai. Well, Dubai has probably been here the same amount of time that it's kind of I've been here. So around 2 years, and it's grown from strength to strength. Obviously, numbers increasing every event. So yeah, it's good to see.
And what was it like in Sharjah winning? What was that feeling like?
Yeah, Sharjah was great because obviously I'd opened the gym. The gym had been open sort of 6 months, so it was the first time I'd had a sort of massive community backing, and obviously it was a huge event for everyone in terms of seeing everyone race and do well, all the members, etc. And then obviously the pro is always sort of last race of the day, so it was nice to kind of obviously race in front of a big crowd, and obviously just to hear your name being cheered kind of constantly throughout was a big drive to actually make sure that I did win. So no, it was a nice feeling.
Honestly, it's amazing. And look, I know you've come third in Dubai as well, which is also incredible. How was that feeling different from Dubai compared to like Sharjah and winning?
Yeah, like Dubai was different. Like obviously, again, it was all kind of experience as well. In those sort of Dubai races, I was new to HYROX still myself, and you know there was guys that I raced against that were sort of elite guys that had flown in, and back then you used to have prize money in those events, so it enticed people to fly in for those sorts of competitions. They obviously don't do that anymore, so there's not as much excitement for them to come over here.
Oh, there's not any financials at the moment?
There's not in the pro races. In sort of like the Elite 15 there is, but not in sort of the pro races. So it's but in terms of, for me, more than anything, just winning a race in front of the home crowd, in front of all sort of the members and everything like that. There was genuinely probably no better feeling. Like I've got quite a few little social media posts of that, and yeah, unreal. Like such a good feeling.
No, I bet. And like one thing that people don't realize is going sub 60 is quite hard, like very hard. But what was it 58? What was it? I've got it here. 23.
Yeah, 58.23. Yeah,
which is insane.
Yeah, it's good. There's still definitely a lot of room for improvement, but in terms of obviously, yeah, to go sub 60, anybody that's gone sub 60 in a race, whether it be open or pro, is probably a pretty good athlete. So it's not exactly easy, I wouldn't say.
No, definitely not. And I know that, like for me, I've never done a HYROX. I've never done it personally. Yeah. But when it comes to doing the race, when it comes to your preparation for it, right? Like, do you ever have in your mind before the race, like I'm gonna hit sub 60?
Yeah, I think obviously since that race, up until just the most recent one, I hit sub 60 in pretty much every race. I sort of did HYROX Mumbai and won that one pretty soon after, and then sort of did Bangkok again and came second in that one. But again, went sub 60 in those. And I think now I have the feeling for it. I kind of know, and I know where I need to push, where I need to hold off a little bit. So I understand the race, I understand the feeling. So I think for me now, if I didn't go sub 60 in a race, I'd be disappointed. And obviously now trying to push to kind of get into that sort of Elite 15, which still a lot of work to be done. But yeah, that's the goal.
For someone that works with numbers, right? So to get into that Elite 15, what would be a time that you would probably have to aim for?
So I think the qualifying time at the minute is around 56.12, I'm thinking. And yeah, the good thing about obviously HYROX is the fact that you can analyze your race from sort of start to finish. So I know exactly where I can make my time up in terms of my race. And for me, it's a matter of sort of honing in on just a few stations, sort of sled pull, row, not getting lazy, and wall balls have to be unbroken, because that's
have to be unbroken. 100
have to be, because it's a significant amount of time. So
yeah,
unfortunately, that is needs must. So that's something that I'm basically working towards, because that's something where you kind of gain 40 seconds, so to speak. You're not gaining a massive chunk of time in anything else. You've just got to be consistent. So that's the sort of aim, and it's definitely doable. It's just having the right race, putting it all together on the day, and not getting cramped like I got in my last race.
Yeah. And look, for a 5'7" guy, when you say 100 wobbles on broken, I'm like, I'd be screwed, bro. Like, I'm jumping after 50, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I think the most I've ever done is like 60 in a workout on broken. I'm like, I'm jumping every time.
Yeah.
So like, one thing that I believe that people don't see in a HYROX race is the mentality going into it. So what is one mental factor that you find going into a race that can make a massive difference?
I think having a bit of confidence in what you've done, and also not, I think a lot of people go into races and feel like they're not prepared enough. However, you are exactly where you need to be in that moment and in that stage, and regardless of how you look at it, it's an experience, and it's a chance to just kind of enjoy the process. And I can say probably in every single race I've gone into, I probably felt that I could have done more. I could have done a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But I think just kind of also just trying to enjoy it a little bit. Like, I think every race I've done, I probably don't look like I'm enjoying it. I definitely am not, to a certain extent, but trying to just enjoy it a little bit and sort of smile and embrace it. I think that's the thing that I've learned to do a bit more, and just enjoy the process. And yeah, that's kind of the aim for me, is just to enjoy it as I move through, and then, hopefully the results will follow.
No, I love that. And like, I know that you said, from looking at is that your best time, by the way? 58:23 is your best ever?
Yeah, 58:23 is the best at the minute.
So right now you've got a 2-minute gap to be Elite 15.
Yeah.
So what are some things that you need to work on to get there?
So yeah, as I said previously, like the wall balls and row and stuff like that. But for me, it's just, I think it more than anything, as you know, with wall balls, it's as much as a physical game, it's a massive mental game. Holding onto that ball that little bit longer, trying to like break it down. And I think that's what makes HYROX an incredible race, is that each sort of part of the race is quite a significant number. Like, in terms of you're on the ski for a kilometre, you're on the row for a kilometre, 80-metre burpee broad jumps, 100 wall balls, all these numbers, they're long. They're not short, little sharp sort of. You've got to have sort of little coping mechanisms to kind of get through them, to kind of push you past and get through those stations. And I think wall balls for me is, I think my big thing, what I'm actually trying to do at the minute, which will build huge amounts of confidence, is to do Karen, but with a 30-pounder unbroken. So if I can do that, then there's no reason why I should ever be able to not go unbroken, because that's a mean feat.
Yeah, true. For anyone that doesn't know Karen, it's like 150 wall balls for time, and with 30 pounds is obviously heavier than what it's meant to be.
Yeah.
And I've done that once before. I definitely died.
Yeah.
But how's that going at the moment? We're like, have you done it unbroken yet?
No,
Close to?
no,
Do you think you can?
I think I'm still a way off, but like, I'm still working towards that. And to be fair, just training with a 30-pounder, and then when you get to the 9, makes it feel like a feather. So hopefully, true. Anyway, but still, you're a bit fatigued by the time you get to it with.
And how old are you, by the way?
I'm 32.
I'm 32. So I'm 31, right? For anyone out there that's in their 30s or even late 20s, like, you can get fitter, you can get better in your 30s going for an elite level sport or race like HYROX, right?
Yeah, 100%. I think most of our clientele as well, or, we get a lot of people that are kind of everyday people that have never done sort of fitness, never really done running, never kind of participated in events or competitions. And even the significant improvements that I've seen from those people in the way that they move, to how they perform, to everything that they're doing now is a massive change.
No, I agree. And I think especially in like an endurance style race, you can get that way better compared to, say, a 1 rep max lift in your 30s for sure, right?
Yeah.
And how important is, I know we spoke about the movements, but how important is running for your HYROX? Because it's literally most of the race.
Yeah, it's predominantly a running race. Obviously, you see a lot of sort of transfer over from sort of triathletes and, runners in general. The only thing that obviously really does slow those people down is sort of sleds. And the guy that won the HYROX World Championship this year is a lighter, more slight guy. So hopefully the sleds stay heavy because it changes the race ever so slightly. But it is predominantly a running race. My background is running. That's what I did when I was younger. And anybody that has if you look at any of the top guys that are sort of in this space, they have some form of endurance background, whether it be swimmers, runners, triathletes, sort of cyclists. They all have a bit of an endurance background. That's not to say that you can't obviously get there. It's just to say that there is definitely a big factor.
No, I agree. And I think I think I'm decent at cardio, but running is my worst aspect compared to like row, bike, or, burpees or anything.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm not going to do anywhere near as well.
Yeah.
And anyone that wants to do this challenge as well, I wouldn't suggest it. But in January, I ran a full marathon, and my friend was like, "Oh, do you want to sign up for a marathon? It's in 30 days." And I was like, "Yeah, but if I'm going to do it, I'm going to train for it." So average runner, 30 days to run a marathon. The goal was sub 4 hours, right? Didn't make it. I did it 4 hours, 8 minutes, which is okay for a first time.
Yeah, 100%.
But I ran 6 times a week for literally 4 weeks to get my running up. But you can get very good at running the more consistent you do it.
Yeah, 100%.
I remember when we did a half marathon, and I think my pace was like a 5:40. And then 3 weeks later, I'm doing it in like a 5:15.
Yeah.
So you can get very quick at running. Mate, don't be stupid like me and do 6 running sessions a week. But you can get really good at running the more you do it.
Yeah, 100%.
And for someone that wants to train for HYROX, or someone that wants to get into the race or even get better, how often should they be running?
Obviously, again, it all depends on what level you're at, how much you ran before, all that sort of stuff. Obviously, volume needs to obviously be increased slowly depending on sort of what level you're at.
Yeah.
6, like, so for example, I do 5 to 6 runs a week. I sort of do a long run, 2 easy, and I do a threshold session and then an interval sort of speed session. But again, I've got a big running background. I'm kind of used to the volume. But it's all about and it's also as well finding that happy medium between, I am not a full-time athlete, but I've got a lot more time on my hands to consistently do that sort of stuff. So it's finding that happy medium. I would say ideally you need to be doing 3 runs a week. Ideally a threshold sort of session, an interval, and some form of easy run. That's probably 3 is a minimum, and obviously anything else that you can get in is obviously going to just benefit you kind of long term. But again, just making sure that the volume stays low. And that's the good thing about HYROX as well, is it actually has predominantly got people into running. Running was never sexy.
No,
people didn't like running. Like, you looked at like CrossFit didn't predominantly have much running in it. And you do see, and I remember even like in Dubai, like when the first kind of HYROX happened, there was no real CrossFitters that kind of got involved. They weren't sure about it, blah, blah. And soon now you see a lot more of those guys, a lot more of those girls kind of getting a bit more into running. And it's so easily accessible as well. So it's well, not at the minute with the Dubai, not at the minute with the Dubai heat, but it is getting there.
I agree. And I think as well, like, I've always loved running as a kid. When I say a kid, like when I was younger, I used to enjoy running a lot. Because, we're both from the UK, you just go out on the street and go. Yeah. And I know it might be a little bit different here, especially in the heat, but that's what I enjoyed about it, just going out and enjoying, right? And I think it is really getting people into that a lot more, which is great. And HYROX has grown like insane in the past 2 years, especially like since you've been in Dubai, right? Where do you see that going as a brand?
Yeah, I think, it's still fairly fresh as of sort of the Middle East in terms of, it's not really branched out to sort of all the regions here. So there's still massive growth in this region alone. I think it doesn't look like it's slowing down anytime soon. If you look at sort of the demand in races and how hard it is actually to get tickets for any kind of race.
Yeah, especially here, boom, gone. Abu Dhabi and Dubai sell out like quick.
Yeah, and Europe is even worse. Like it just goes so quick. So I think the growth is definitely still there. I think it's interesting. There's there's lots of events that are cropping up that are imitations or something similar, and that's super cool. Like it's cool that there are events like that. Here you've got sort of Primal Race, you've got other races like Deadly Dozen and all these sorts of events coming out to Dubai. It's all good. It's all functional fitness that's kind of getting people moving, getting people excited. And obviously, if there's only going to be so many events over here, then getting those other events in is also perfect prep for those. But this doesn't look like it's slowing down anytime soon. So I think it's just going to continue to grow.
I agree. And I think what is also good is that, like you said, you got stuff like Primal, Precision, these other brands out there that are doing races and getting people fit.
Yeah.
What type of stuff do you like to do outside of HYROX? Is there other races you like to do?
So yeah, I love Primal. Primal. I love any sort of competition that is just pure raw fitness. There's no fanciness. There's no nothing. Like, it's just the fittest person with the most amount of grit is going to win the race. And like Primal is a very good example of that. It's pure tire flips, like, you know, all sandbag over like a, I don't even know what it's like, a fence.
Yeah.
Sandbag carries. It's just pure raw fitness, and I've done. It was actually only managed to do the last race, and I competed in all categories and going to compete in all categories again in the next one. And that's an incredible event. I think it's a very well thought out. But those sorts of races, and then, you know, there's other competitions. There's competitions every single weekend.
Yeah, there are.
Literally every weekend, so it's mad.
And that's what I think is so good about, like, if people live here and you're an athlete, like, you could just make a living out of social media and competing if you're good enough, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So you said to me, I'm not going to see you doing bar muscle ups, handstand walks, or anything like that. No,
I did. Pewts and Pat they saw me at Waddon Free and they saw me try to do handstand walks. And it turns out you can't learn handstand walks in a week, and I couldn't get over 3 meters. I was basically stuck at that point for the entire one of the entire events. But yeah, it's not me. So I won't be focusing in on that.
What I'm excited about is, like, something for me is, like, I love CrossFit. I love the skills more than the endurance, even though I like that. So tomorrow when we work out, you're going to see a massive difference in your level of cardio. And then I'll be like, right, let's just do some gymnastics to make my ego feel a little bit better. You know, I got to push a little bit. But for yourself and your background, right? You've come from, like you said, an endurance background, but you're in the Royal Marines, right?
Yeah.
How long were you there for?
So I was in the Marines for around just over 5 years. Yeah, and it was a good chunk of my life. Learned a lot. Probably made me kind of as mentally resilient as I am now, and taught me kind of that sort of, probably taught me that kind of grit and sort of never give up sort of attitude that I've probably still got now.
Like, I think that probably helped you out competing more than the physical aspects in there, for sure. Because when I was at uni, we had, do you know Exeter in the UK?
Yeah.
There's a base there.
Yeah, Limpston. That's where we do our training. Yeah.
Oh, really?
That's where you do your 8 months of basic training to become a Royal Marine recruit.
Nice. Didn't actually know that.
Yeah.
But I know that we had a lot of people come to the CrossFit gym, things like that. And what we did at uni, we did a lot of research in psychology about the mental side in sports.
Yeah.
And one thing was, I interviewed a lot of people there, and they spoke about a big thing of the grit, and they use the word grit a lot.
Yeah.
And how when you're going through, I don't know, a shit walk or a very hard time, it's wet. You literally have nothing. And, like, you just feel like crap. You're hungry, you're tired, you've been going for 18 hours. One person complaining can completely change that.
Yeah.
You know, and hearing that story back then and hearing you now, I think it's going to push anyone to go into sport and do well. Even if you suck at the beginning, but that mental grind of what you have gone through back then is like nothing compared to this, probably.
Yeah, exactly. I think obviously you always think of, you know, I always said this before, like, the hardest thing you've done is the hardest thing you've done. So, you know, within that, like, you only compare stuff to what you've done previously. And if something, so for example, I've done so many hard things in the Marines that were so much more tiring, so much longer, so much more difficult, and I got through those. So that any sort of a fitness event that is an hour of hard work or it's a little bit longer, it's kind of not easy because it literally never gets any easier. Fitness, unfortunately, it's always just as hard, but you get more comfortable with that kind of sort of pain and that sort of resilience. But it's I think from those experiences, it just allows me to push way further than most people, because in fitness events and competitions, you have the opportunity to slow down if you want. You have the opportunity to quit. You have the opportunity to take it a bit easy, relax a little bit. When you're in that environment of the Marines, you have no option but to continue to just grit through it and get on with it. And nobody's there to hold your hand and give you a hug. You are there just to kind of get through it. So I think that kind of, now when I do any sort of fitness event, I kind of hone in on that a little bit.
No, I agree. And I think that mental aspect is a muscle in itself. You have to grow it over time, right? You can't, you can't ask a random person from the street and be like, right, we're going to do Raw Marines training. They would literally feel like they're dying.
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes it's a good way, but but I do think that it's a muscle that needs to be grown. So what do you think people out there should do to build their mental capacity for competition? What could they do?
I think, to be fair, it's just it's through training. It is one of those things. It's just a matter of time. It's getting through sort of, your hard sessions that you may have in the week and just slowly building it. It's all about progression over time in terms of, I probably do 2 hard sessions a week. One's a threshold run. And I don't go straight into sort of 10 minutes at that threshold effort. Like, I will start small and then build that up slowly. So my body's kind of getting used to it. I'm used to that feeling. And I think you said the same for you. Like, you've obviously been out of training for 4 weeks. I think, like, if you went in with just a killer session, it would probably write you off and just absolutely kill you mentally. I think it's just easing into things as well.
No, I agree. And like, when I did take a month out, it was mentally, it's horrible.
Yeah.
But like, coming back, I couldn't just go back and just do what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Like, my mental capacity on, like, let's say you're doing a hard EMOM. Like, I was like, something that I would find fine before, I was like, I just don't have that mental push. And if I do, I'm like on the floor, right?
Yeah.
And it felt like a newbie again, right? But I do think as well that you need to build it up over time, which is great. And you touched upon there, like, the amount you train. How much is that in a week? Do you train twice a day, 6 days a week? What is that kind of like for you?
Yeah, so at the minute it's a little, I'm doing it, at the minute I'm kind of not following anything. I'm just moving my body, to be fair. I'm just kind of in a headspace where I just feel like I need a bit of a break from sort of training intensely. So I'm just doing a little bit of everything, but sort of usually, I train, I'm still training twice a day now. So,
just casual, for everyone else that does once a day, they're like, I'm just going to casually move my body twice a day.
And obviously, like, I think when people hear that, they're like, because for the most people kind of in their sessions redline themselves constantly. They're hitting zone 5s all the time, which is not really, you can't do that in a week. You need to allow your body to recover through certain sessions and pick your hard sessions. So for me, I'm doing a lot of kind of easy work. There's not a lot of intensity during my week, but I probably train twice a day most days. And I quite intuitively, like, listen to my body, really. So, like, if I kind of feel like I need that rest, or I'll take it, but I kind of just roll with it, so to speak. So twice a day most days, but easy work, a lot of easy work.
So a lot of, like, say, zone 2 runs or intervals, keeping a certain pace.
Yeah, zone 2 bike work, zone 2 running, even in sort of like my mixed modality work, like just going into zone 3, not trying to go into sort of zone 4 or zone 5, just kind of working on that sort of base. And then, as I said, like, just prioritizing where I am pushing hard, because you can't push that hard every day during the week, because it just doesn't work.
Yeah, that's true. I agree. And one thing that you keep talking about is endurance, right? For sure. But bro, you got some muscle on you, man. Like, it's not like you're not doing strength training and you're not lifting weights, right? So how often is that happening?
I've been doing a lot of bench and pull-ups recently. Okay, so I might look like I've got a pump on in the minute.
Wear a tight t-shirt. That's the key.
Yeah. Just a slightly smaller t-shirt.
Yeah.
No, so I still probably touch upon strength 3 to 4 days. So I still sort of touch upon the compound lifts, but not a huge amount. So I'll do sort of like a compound movement, some strength accessory, probably 2 movements, and then I'll do some mixed modality sort of stuff. Okay. So not a huge amount of strength, but enough. I'm quite receptive, unfortunately. Like, well, it's not unfortunate, it's a good thing in a way. I'm quite receptive to putting on muscle, which is probably not very good for HYROX, because obviously it's just like you want to be more, the slighter you can be, really, is the better.
You want to be strong, but smaller. Like,
exactly.
It's better for running.
It's better for running. It's definitely better for running.
No, that's cool. And I think as well, a lot of people out there need to know that doing this on a competitive level, trying to be top 15, trying to be that elite, you can't prioritize your strength training as much, right? You've got to be strong, obviously, because, you've got sleds there, which is needed, but you need a base like any athlete, like in any other sport, like football, or I wasn't going to say rugby, that's completely different, but football, tennis, they do follow like a strength program 3-4 times a week. But then your primary focus is race stuff. Yeah. And when it comes to you at the moment, you said you're kind of playing with it a bit and having fun. But when it comes to performing at an elite level and trying to get there, how many hours are you putting in a day of training?
Probably 2 to 2 to 2.5, maybe.
Okay. That's actually less than I thought you were going to say.
Yeah, so 2 to 2.5. And then obviously just I prioritize. I didn't used to, but I prioritize recovery quite a bit now. So I see somebody for a sports massage every week. I see somebody, an injury rehab prevention guy every week. Yeah, which is a big help. And I've got a cold plunge now, start doing all that sort of stuff. So, which does help as well.
Yeah, massively. So I love cold showers, cold plunging. I'm loving it, right? But when do you find the best time to say, do a cold plunge, do a sauna, things that we see online as, they help, but where do you find that they help?
I do them predominantly after sort of like any kind of intense session. Again, intuitively, kind of if I feel I need it. But usually sort of evenings, because to be fair, I'm out and about, and then when I get home, it's there sort of ready to go. So
no, of course, and I think definitely recovery is key to anything. Like when you get to a point where you're at an elite level, right? You're literally trying to be one of the best in the world. You have to think of those small margins.
Yeah,
you know, we've spoke about what it takes in terms of to be better. And off air, we spoke about your lunges, where you said normally it's one of your best movements, cramps happened, it fucked you up, and it took 2 minutes off your time.
Yeah.
Changes the game.
Yeah.
And that's not even 1%, right? That's not 1% of the race. Like, it's crazy. Whereas what we're doing is with the ice baths, the sauna, you really need to think marginally to make a big difference, right?
Yeah.
But for someone that is just starting, maybe they're a little bit fit, they've been going to the gym, they do a little bit. How did they start training for something like this?
Well, they can first of all come to Athlete Fitness. Plug. No, I think to be fair, I think obviously if you're kind of a decent level of fitness, if we're talking, I think your sort of sessions in terms of what you should be looking at, I think the common mistake people obviously are continuing to make is obviously doing a lot of HYROX simulations, a lot of kind of just consistently working on the movement patterns. You know, you can substitute these exercises for a lot of things. You know, wall balls, you can work on doing push press, dumbbell thrusters, those sorts of things, and they're still kind of going to go hand in hand. You don't consistently need to be hitting wall balls every single day. And I think just, you know, focusing in on a little bit more and just working, and that's the thing, it's data driven. You work out where you're sort of like lacking. I think for your first race, it's all just about enjoying the experience, getting through it, and then you've kind of got all that data to then work off and see, you know, where are you lacking, where could you work on, and what's going to be sort of like priority moving into your next sort of race. And obviously I know for me, like in terms of I continue to look at my data and that's why I'm prioritizing in certain areas and trying to focus in on those, because I know that for me, my running is at a level that, yeah, it could improve slightly. We could improve by a couple seconds per kilometer. But in terms of my running's pretty good, and every time it's very similar. So knowing where to put the work in, and also just taking your time and just realizing that nobody gets good overnight. Like it took me 14 months to get a PB in Sharjah when I got 58.23.
That's a long time.
It's a long time, and it's not because I wasn't fitter. It's not because I wasn't fitter. It's not because I wasn't doing the work. It was just because some things just take a little bit of time. You know, your race day isn't always going to be perfect, and there's going to be factors that aren't going to be great. But just, you know, the more consistent you are, the quicker you're going to get to that goal. But just enjoy the process. Say it to all my clients, enjoy the process.
No, I agree. I think that's so important. And there's one thing that you did speak about, like you were fit enough, you're getting better. Like it's not like you weren't getting better in 14 months.
Yeah.
But strategy makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Understanding how competition works, understanding your prep, understanding everything. And I've got a client that's doing his first HYROX in a couple months. I've had clients that wanted to do it. And I'm like, you've got to realize no matter how fit you are in training, no matter how good it looks, no matter how good the simulation goes, there's things on the day that you've never experienced, especially in a competition. Yeah. It may be nerves and you end up running your first kilometer like too fast.
Yeah.
It may be you didn't prepare like food enough. All these factors come into play that you learn on the day.
Yeah.
And I think for anyone new coming in, you can't teach that. You can only know what you learn from those mistakes, right? And that's what probably happened over that 14-month period is you learn those little things and build up. But for anyone that does want to start, what are like 3 movements that they should probably be prioritizing in their training to prepare for a race like this?
So
take the average person.
Yeah. So realistically, you need to be focusing on strength. If we're talking sort of general sort of movements, or generalizing sort of specifics, strength, running, and then doing mixed modality work. And then, yeah, obviously as you get closer to race, you can be more specific in terms of what you're doing. I wouldn't ever pick like 3 exercises as such, because I feel like that's so specific. But I think those 3 areas, focusing in on them, and then that should hopefully help. I think, yeah, I would say those.
No, I like it. I think it's better than 3 movements, right? But when you said the word mixed modality, what does that actually mean for someone that has no clue?
So focusing in on sort of erg work, you know, throwing in sort of some dumbbell movements, bodyweight movements, and just kind of focusing in on those different areas, basically.
Okay. So it's like a long endurance style workout, mixing between the movements, could be reps, could be sets, could be time.
Yeah, a conditioning sort of movement. So yeah, it could be an EMOM of a certain amount of minutes with sort of different elements, basically.
Okay, this is a question. Have you ever done the Miko triangle?
Yes, so we do that in our program a lot at the gym.
Yeah.
And it's obviously, it's a
one of my favorites.
Gnarly workout, but it's great. We do it with, we don't actually have assault bikes, so we do row, ski, run. So
isn't that a lot worse?
No, I
so
think
the calories, does it tick off better than an assault bike?
Yeah, I think the run does. It depends on the person doing it. Some people would obviously prefer assault bike. Some people would prefer run. And for us, obviously, for me,
it's better for you to run. Yeah.
I prefer the run.
What is your best number on the Miko triangle that you've ever done?
I've done 20, but 21 would be what I would go for now. And I think I would do 21.
And that's with the run, right?
That's with the run. Yeah.
If you did it with an assault bike, do you think you could do the same?
Because I'm not conditioned to it, I will say no. But I think I could. But maybe just give me a couple of weeks on an assault bike. To be fair, I do like an assault bike. I've just bought an Echo bike, which is definitely more gnarly. But
no, yeah, I agree. And like, that's one of my favorite ever workouts, to do, just through the mental aspect.
Yeah.
And when years ago, before I even came to Saudis, what's that, like 9 years ago, we had a competition in the UK and I was helping programming. So we got all the way up to 18 with an assault bike. And I was like, oh, that's good. And then if I changed that just for a run, it would probably change everything.
Yeah.
Especially depending on if you've got an assault runner, which is, I think, is a lot harder.
Yeah.
It's going to make a massive difference. But I do think that's a good test for anyone that wants to test their mixed modality.
Yeah.
Pick a number that you can do for 40 minutes, go for it. And even if it's like 12 or 13 calories, whatever it may be, 10, then you've got a base on what you can always build off. I think that's always a good test to go with. Yeah,
to be fair, and that's the thing. So in terms of what we do with the program is in our engine workouts, we basically test. So for example, we did exactly that. We tested the Mikos, and we then basically just do variations using those numbers, whatever they get in their test score, and use sort of variation in terms of workouts, working for longer periods of time, working for shorter periods of time, and just using that so that people then have a sort of a personalized base. And we do that kind of with all our classes, really. But now they're doing they did a 2K row, 2K ski, and a 2K run, and they're using those basically. And then sort of we're doing threshold efforts in this sort of next cycle, which again makes it a little bit more specific and just something to work towards.
No, of course. And I've definitely seen Luke post a lot of your workouts before, about a few months ago.
Yeah.
And I've definitely stole some because they are fucking good. Because on a Thursday, what we do is just an endurance day. I call it like a fucked up Thursday workout, right?
Yeah.
It's 60 minutes or more of machine work.
Yeah.
And we alternate weeks. One week it will be an easier one, like a zone 2, zone 3. Next week will be more of a threshold. It'll be a lot harder.
Yeah.
And it's going to be rough towards the end.
Yeah.
So I've definitely stole a few of those and gave them a try because you kind of know your numbers when you're on the machines. And I think anyone going into HYROX, this is a nice mixed modality way to do it.
Yeah.
Maybe they should just reach out to you, right? For a bit of programming for that, right?
Yeah,
Definitely.
Yeah. Hit me up.
Yeah. And when it comes to anyone else, what are some mistakes you see newbies make? When I say newbies to the racing aspect make in HYROX, if it's their first or second race.
On the race day specifically?
Yeah.
I think not focusing. I think slow is fast. Fast is slow. Is that the saying? Something along those lines. I think you see a lot of people kind of, they either, as you talked about previously, they either go off too fast, or there's moments in sort of races where there's just you know, everything is methodical. So everything that I do in terms of every station, you'll see it's a consistent effort. There's no me going fast, slowing down, stopping, and then going fast again. Everything is systemized in terms of how I approach it. And I kind of do the exact same process, whether that be sled pull. You know, I'm pulling in the exact same way every single time. And I think obviously then your body gets used to it because you're going to be there for a certain period of time. So your muscles get used to it. You know how to breathe through that exercise. You then know how to work through it. What I see is I see a lot of people that maybe haven't sort of worked on their technique and efficiency, and they just are erratic. And obviously they're killing themselves in certain exercises. They might be on the skiing at like 50 strokes a minute, then they're going to 20, and then they're going back up to 50. And just working on sort of knowing, and that's what the best thing about it is, once you know your numbers, you know where you're at. You know, for my race personally now, like I use my watch. As soon as I get into a station, I'll start my watch. So I basically lap it at that point, and then I know when I ideally need to be getting out of that station, in what time, and can work through that sort of knowing where my paces are.
And use Garmin?
Yeah, Garmin.
So how do you use your watch? So I use Garmin. How do you use it? Do you just do a normal lap to...
Yeah, there are settings. I'm not advanced in any form. So I basically just set it to run and then just lap it.
Okay.
So I lap it for my runs, so I know what pace I'm running at, and then I lap it for my stations just so I know where I'm at sort of roughly in between sort of stations. So I know if I'm getting... halfway, I've done two lengths of the sled push, and there's 4 lengths in total. I know roughly where I'm at time-wise, and if I need to maybe put a little bit more effort in. Just because for me, as much as I'm racing for position, when I'm not competing, or for example, when I was in Mumbai, I was just way ahead, and I was by myself, and I got really just quite lazy with it, to be honest. But knowing sort of, I'm working for time now. I'm not working for position. So, you know, even if I race in Maastricht and I come 10th, but I get a 56-minute, you know, HYROX, well, that's great, because then it's obviously going to put me up the rankings, really.
How do the rankings work? Because obviously if you win in, like you said, Mumbai, but the level's not as good as, say, Dubai, for example, how does that work? Is it all based on time, the amount of competitions? How does that work?
Yeah, so it's all based off time. So for the Elite 15 specifically, it's basically based off your time. So your 2 fastest races. So each race is an expiry date of a year. So if it's over a year, you cannot obviously use that race. But your 2 fastest races, you basically get the average of those, and that puts you in a ranking position. So if you've got a 58 and a 56, your average would be 57, and then that puts you in a ranking position, basically, across the world, basically.
So you mentioned before you need like a 56-12 or something like that. So you need to do that twice, basically.
Yeah, so exactly. So like for me, realistically, to get into that sort of qualification sort of time, I pretty much need to probably be doing like a 54 in the next race, which... don't know if that's going to... that'll be one hell of a PB, but...
Yeah, 4 minutes is huge.
Yeah, it's huge.
And anyone that doesn't understand, like they think, you know, from 58 to 54, that's not a lot, but that's a lot.
It's a lot when you're at, sort of that top level, like you're not... Yeah, you're at that top level, so the margins in terms of how much better you're going to get are definitely a lot smaller. So, yeah, it's all about, obviously, there's certain races that are, you know, slightly faster races, so to speak. Maastricht is, and that's why there's a lot of very good guys going to that. There's a lot of guys that are basically trying to get into that Elite 15, and that's one of the races which is it's supposed to be a slightly faster course, which again makes a huge amount of difference, because if it is a faster course, you're going to get a faster time. So
no, of course. And for yourself, what is your next plans, like in terms of races for, let's say, the calendar year to get that 56-12 time?
Yeah, so I've got Mumbai. I'm racing with a lad called Dave Kelly, who is a coach at the gym, who's an unbelievable athlete as well. We're going to be going for an Elite 15 doubles time, which again is, I think it's 50 minutes for the pro doubles. So super quick. Basically I have to run at sub 3:20 pace for all the runs.
That's insane.
Yeah, so it's going to be fast, not enjoyable.
Yeah.
Horrible. There's no room for sort of error, so it'll just be pure grit and go. But that'll be a good race, and then I've got a race 2 weeks after, as I said, in Maastricht, and I've got a few other races in the calendar sort of booked, like sort of London in December. To be honest, I've got loads booked. I've got loads of races booked, but I don't know which ones I'll go to. As soon as the ticket comes on now, I pretty much buy the ticket.
Just in case it sells out, right?
Just to give myself that option of basically getting in a race where I need to. And it's obviously difficult as well. We're in a region now currently where there's no races. booked no races as of yet, sort of, which is difficult because obviously, you know, traveling 6-7 hours to go and race somewhere is not ideal. And then obviously the time difference, the men's pro's always in the evening. So you got a 3 hours, 4 hour time difference. So you end up racing at 11 p.m. Dubai time or even midnight. So not ideal, you know, but it'll be worth it.
And even when you go back home to the UK, right, let's say London, like, does it still feel like that? You feel that time difference if you're racing there? Like,
yeah, I think it's the time difference, it's being out of your routine, it's all of the things. And obviously, like, you know, definitely not the only one. Everyone's in a very similar boat. So it's no excuses as such, but it definitely makes it a little bit more difficult, obviously. But I would say last year I did quite a few races abroad, so getting used to it.
No, of course. Like, I think that's a skill in itself that, you know, when we spoke about experience, traveling to competitions, it's not like you wake up, you go to the gym, it's a routine. Yeah. It's a completely different routine. That's a skill, right? And for yourself, like, I know we spoke about, you know, you want to be in the top 15, right? Like, that's the goal. Yeah. But is there a bigger goal after that?
In terms of personally, yeah, like, obviously, I think for me, obviously, ideally, you know, who wouldn't want to say that they were world champion? Like, but I think realistically, I think for me, you know, I've competed against those guys, some of the guys that are in that sort of elite 15 category. And to be honest, I believe that there's maybe 3 or 4 guys that are a bit of a step ahead. But in terms of the rest of the guys, I feel like it's so close. And I don't believe that any of them are fitter than me or better than me. I believe that, to be fair, I can probably race the best of them. So it's just, for me, I feel like it's a matter of time before I'm in that position. But it's also just about lining up the right races and having a good race in the day, which there's so many factors that come into play with a race that is so long and has so many factors where you can, you know, you might usually ski at a certain pace, and on that particular day you just go all in, or that sled feels a little bit heavier, or so it's a hard thing to do. But I think it's understanding the stimulus, it's getting that race experience. The more races you do, the more sort of you do understand that, and I think I'm getting to that point now. I understand how it feels. I understand how shit it feels, because trust me when I say it, every time I get on the ski and I'm 2 minutes into the ski, I hate my life.
Oh, really?
And I'm looking up as I come up and I'm like, what? And I can see people looking at me. I'm like, what am I doing here? Why am I even doing this? But you get through it. And it's worth it at the end. And
no, like, of course, I think there's always that mental aspect of it. Like, one thing that I love about competition, every time I compete, there's the first workout, like in CrossFit, or the first step, there's this feeling of excitement, but also nervousness. And I lie to myself all the time and say it's just pure excitement, because it's a similar feeling. I'm like, I need to go to the bathroom about 6 times. I'm like scared, but like, it's excitement. I'm ready to go. Yeah. So I lie. I hype myself up, drink a lot of caffeine like I do as always, and just go for it and enjoy it. And I think when you have that mental aspect of that, like, you're going to have this in every competition, right? And I think you want to be on that elite level. And HYROX have this reputation now of trying to deliver the best of the best. But they do sometimes fuck up in terms of some areas. I've seen some clips where some races look a bit like, a good clip I saw was the sled pushes. I don't know where it was. I can't remember the place, where some sleds were very resistant and some were easy. Yeah. Right? Do you ever find that at competition? I'm not trying to badmouth HYROX, by the way, but do you ever find it at competition where equipments are slightly different, or a sled is slightly faster compared to a previous race, or maybe the transitions from movements are a bit longer? Do you see that a lot?
Yeah. So I've had it in races whereby I've done like a sled pull and it's taken me like 6.5 minutes, and it would usually take me like 3 minutes. Yeah. And I think the problem with a station sort of sled push and sled pull, you're gonna always get that variation, and it, unfortunately, a lot of people will complain about it. But there's unless they change the exercises, there's actually nothing that they can do. Kettlebells will always feel like the weight, because they are that way.
Yeah, true.
The ski should also feel the same. The row should feel the same. The sandbag should feel the same. The wall ball should feel the same. But those 2 elements to the race, which are always going to have a slight variation. And it might not be as significant as what you probably saw in that clip, where I think it might have been Worlds, where there was a guy who tried to push one, couldn't really push it, and then he went to another one and he basically just pushed it and it just flew along. Yeah. And I think it just is what you get on the day, unfortunately. and unless they change it, you just gotta put up and shut up.
Yeah, and I think that just that example of that clip, like that's just one shit scenario, right? I've been in competitions where a judge is terrible, right? And you're like, and I've complained, I'm like, literally the guys next to me doing the same thing.
Yeah.
You can't no rep you, right? So it does happen. These are some things you can't help.
Yeah.
But HYROX does get a lot of stick from like the CrossFit community. Don't get me wrong, it's transitioning.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of stick there where CrossFitters are like HYROX is basically shit in comparison.
Yeah.
What's your response to that? I'm not like that, just to be clear, but what's your response?
There's one guy who loves to put on wall ball depth stuff. We won't name his name, but you know what? Like the best thing about HYROX, not from the elite level, but from like the everyday level, is the fact that regardless, it just gets people moving. Like it's been the most positive thing that I've seen in terms of, like, I look at my clients and I look at where they've come from and where they're at now, and the fact that they're even competing. Most people is a competition at the end of the day. Is a competition. Most of these people have never been even in a competition format or of something like that. And I think there is obviously that stick, and obviously I think it's a bit of jealousy because maybe that's dying and this is growing. But I think the fact that it kind of just gets people into moving, and as I said previously, it's getting people into running that would never have found running sexy. And any competition, any event, any gym, any Pilates, anything that gets people moving in a slightly positive manner, it's good. It's going to be good. I think, but yeah, like I know, unless you're at that top elite level, then obviously that's when, you know, rules and judging and stuff has to be completely perfect. And I think that's where complaints can definitely come in and should come in. But for your everyday person, unfortunately, for some people, they'll never, for example, wall balls is the biggest one that people see. I see sort of clips of, and that's unfortunately, like, if you don't have that mobility, you can obviously work on that and should work on that, but there's actually nothing you can do in that moment if you can't. So and they need to finish. It'd be imagine someone didn't finish it because they couldn't hit depth. It'd be terrible. But
I think I agree 100% that this is something that's got the every day-to-day person competing and having fun. Yeah. And HYROX have done an incredible marketing of an elite athlete and an everyday person, and making it like you could be that together. And CrossFit has never done that in terms of doing that. They've had the CrossFit Games, an elite level. You see that, and it looks amazing. But then you're an everyday person. You're like, I can't snatch 100 kilos. I can't do a handstand walk on a ramp. Yeah. I can't swim in the ocean and come back. You know what I mean? Like all these things that look incredible to watch, HYROX puts it all together, right? Yeah. And I think I'm a big believer in anything. First of all, getting people fit, getting people healthy, of doing something you love is key. Yeah. So I don't give a fuck. Pilates, HYROX, whatever. Yeah. But if you think of, in my opinion, if you think of like the perfect outcome for fitness, raw strength is needed for most people to live a long, healthy life. Yeah. Raw endurance is needed for a long, healthy life, and mobility, right? So people that are so fixated on those would be like, oh, HYROX is bad because you haven't got a strength element. You're not hitting depth. And I'm like, well, if you're saying that at an elite level, okay, right? But if you're saying that for, I don't know, like Sally or Mohammed that's just moved for the first time in a month, who cares? Right? They've done something and achieved something that they never could have imagined in front of a crowd. Yeah. And it gets them the confidence to be able to do that. And I think that's what people are truly missing. And you did say something which I love and I want to talk about it. I didn't even plan it. Is HYROX doing amazing, CrossFit dying? Yeah. Where do you think that's going to be? Do you think CrossFit is going to continue to go down and HYROX will continue to go up?
So for me, I love the variety that CrossFit offers. Without the gymnastics, because I don't want to, and I'm
biased on that one.
And I am useless at it, and if we do gymnastics tomorrow, you'll see. But I think the thing that maybe CrossFit has lost, or in my opinion anyway, is the fact that every year upon year there seems to be another crazy. You've learned double unders, now you're doing double under crossovers. Yeah. Like it's pushing like I don't know. For me, that's just it is cool, and it's cool that they do that. But I think it just becomes unrelatable to the everyday person. And I think HYROX is relatable. You know, everybody understands that. Everybody from maybe even my receptionist did their first HYROX, their first HYROX, which was the best ever. Like, don't do a lot of training, but they got through it. They finished it, and they can relate to me in a certain way because they've done the same workout, the same thing. So they have that relatability in terms of how it felt. It maybe took them 15 minutes to do wall balls, and they see that I did it in 3 minutes. Okay, and they're like, "That's amazing," but they can relate. And I think it's that factor that I can't relate to CrossFit because I can't do basically any of the stuff those guys do. Like, can't lift as heavy, can't do gymnastics. I'm good on the ergs and stuff for sure, but you know, I'm definitely not sort of that person. So I don't know, like, I think from what I see of it in the industry in Dubai and in my time in Dubai the last 2 years, I see CrossFit gyms, maybe some of them are doing particularly well, but I see them not doing as well. And I see the rise of more functional fitness gyms, hybrid gyms across Dubai. And like, listen, trends are trends, and HYROX is trending at the minute, and who's to say that that's going to last? You know, it probably won't. But at the minute, I think that's the rise and that's the demise.
I agree. I think in the next 3, 4, 5 years, HYROX will keep doing well.
Yeah.
After that, I don't know, right?
Yeah.
No one knows. And like you said, it's a trend.
Yeah.
We have these trends that happen and grow. And I think what happened is the most was CrossFit went through a very political period since COVID in many aspects, and disasters over the past year, which completely ruined the brand, and HYROX kept growing. So all of a sudden, as it's growing, you've got a lot of people just coming over, you know, which helps it grow even more. And I think people are looking for a space for two things, right? In gyms now. One, community is like number one. People want to feel welcomed and enjoyed, right?
Yeah.
And they want to feel like a part of something. And two, just feeling relatable, like you said, because what CrossFit was trying to do before and even now, they're like, anyone can do a dumbbell snatch, anyone can do a burpee.
Yeah.
But now it's transitioned into more of an elite skill over elite fitness, you know? And if you look at, say, the CrossFit Games, do you see the CrossFit Games or anything? Or clips,
I've watched clips. I've watched little clips.
Okay, so in the CrossFit Games, from even the clips, you see elite skills.
Yeah.
Okay, there's elite strength, there's elite endurance, but mainly elite skills. If you take yourself, who is at the top of one sport and one race, you could smash someone in some of the workouts, right? But then you literally come beyond dead last in the others.
Yeah.
So it can't be just elite fitness if someone can't come in who is an elite in a sport and do well.
Yeah.
Whereas if you take, say, my CrossFit friends are going to fucking hate me for this, but if you take, say, a professional football player, professional tennis player, an elite athlete, and you bring them into HYROX, they'll probably do pretty well.
Yeah.
You know, like if they have that endurance background that those sports have,
Yeah.
they'll probably do okay. Because they don't need to learn new skills, right?
Yeah.
They're probably doing strength training for the sleds anyway, so it's fine.
Yeah.
And I think that's what HYROX is kind of trying to do. And now you see it in Dubai as well with Prime and other races trying to bring functional fitness into this format. And I think that's where it's going. And for yourself, like, what do you do as a brand, like as Athlete Fitness? What do you guys do as a brand to really accommodate this style of training?
Yeah, so sort of we focus basically on sort of like periodized training. And sort of like progressive. So we basically do a lower focus day, an upper focus, an engine, and a full body. That's our sort of training block as such, and we work on 6 to 8 week cycles with a test at the start, and then we basically follow a progressive cycle. Sort of our lower, upper, and our full body, we focus basically predominantly on sort of a compound movement at the start. So we spend the first 10 to 15 minutes after we've warmed up on a compound lift. Which we've tested, and then everyone's kind of got their own scores, rather than going into a gym, not knowing sort of what your weights are and kind of not knowing where you're at. So we'll follow that sort of progressive cycle throughout, and then we've got that. That's basically our part A. Our part B is sort of strength accessory work. We'll probably work on sort of free movements, doing some strength accessory, and then our part C will be that sort of mixed modality that we talked about previously. So that will be lower, upper, and sort of full body. And then engine, as I spoke about previously, it's basically doing some form of sort of what I believe is a good engine test. And obviously, again, you're kind of dictated by what kit you have, etc., and all that sort of stuff. But doing something that we can kind of test, and that we can then basically do workouts that we sort of program that we believe are kind of going to help people then, you know, in 6 to 8 weeks get a sort of a better score. And that's good for retention, because, you know, naturally you're seeing an increase in strength. You're doing well, and it's also just it's just more personal. It's more relatable. It's, you know, more of that kind of, less about burning calories and more about kind of like that progression in sort of those elements. And I think from that's kind of how I've always trained. That's how I've done it and still do it now in terms of my lower, upper. Like I even, you know, do some of those sessions, and those sessions will be like, that'll be my lower, that'll be my upper, that'll be my engine. And for me, I think it works well. It's the right amount of volume without being too much. And even if you're not into HYROX, if you're just wanting to get fit, wanting to build a base level of strength, wanting to work on cardio, it has all of those elements in it, which I believe is the perfect sort of volume and a perfect amount, as long as all my clients, which come to the gym, stop redlining yourself in part C. It's zone 3, zone 4. Next modality, chill. And unless I tell you.
Yeah, true. And I think as well, for the average person, they see the gym as chill or all out. Yeah. And there is that middle ground, right? And I think you said a big thing there that I think everyone should be doing. Your base compound lifts, squat, deadlift, pressing it, whether that be shoulder press or bench press. Everyone does that. Yeah. And everyone should be doing accessories to accommodate and doing pure cardio. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, some people find it boring in terms of just running or just biking. Like you said, mixed modality is more fun, more of like an AMRAP or EMOM style is more fun, right? And I do that with everyone as well, because I think I kind of lie to everyone that signs up with me, because they come to me to look a certain way. Yeah. They stay because they see that progression. Yeah. You know, because most people that don't go to the gym, they see it as a place that it's a place to sculpt your body, look a certain way, be a certain shape. You know, you just want to look in the mirror and feel sexy, right? Yeah. Like I say this to everyone, if there was a pill that you could, well, there is pills now, but if there was just something you could do to just look sexy as fuck naked and be healthy, gyms would be closed. Yeah. So people come for that, but they stay because they see strength progress. They stay because they feel like they're a part of something. They stay because they see other aspects of their life change and becoming a new person, right? So I completely agree, but in Dubai, it's hard. It's saturated. There's so many gyms. So what makes your gym better or different?
Better or different? I think, to be fair, I think you touched on it already. I think community is a massive, massive aspect. I think one thing that we've done very well is we've kind of built that very organically, and I've built that before I even opened the gym. I had a sort of community that backed me, and then so opening the gym, and I think a lot of you know, fitness is, you've obviously got good coaches and stuff like that, but also having an environment that's super welcoming, coaches that are relatable, coaches that actually coach but also are friendly and enjoyable. And I think that's one big thing, is that I always have been very much, and always kind of tell my coaches, is if you do one thing well, you know, communicate well with the clients, make them feel welcome, make them enjoy the experience, because for most people that's the hardest thing they're going to do, or that's their one sort of like release of the day that they kind of go through. And I think we live in obviously Dubai, where, you know, everybody is away from home, is away from family. So I think I hone massively in on community, and, you know, doing community events and building sort of that sort of stuff. And I think that's what, as well as, you know, fitness is fitness for me. You know, there's loads of gyms doing loads of good stuff. There's incredible gyms across Dubai. There's so many. There's so many options, like different variations of fitness. But I think what we do well, is community focus, and I think we do it pretty well, because we don't really pay for marketing. We do sort of really massively just sort of word of mouth, kind of getting people in, and continuously I'm checking my laptop, and continuously there's 20 new people coming to the gym every single week. Nice. and it's mad, and it's great. You know, the fact that people now are deciding on a Friday that they're going to talk to their friend and message their friend that they're going to come to Athlete Fitness is huge for me. Like it's a massive privilege that I get to have a gym that people want to come to. So yeah, I think being a nice person as well helps a lot, as well as obviously everything else.
That's true. And I think as well, coaches especially, need to realize that you can learn many things on how to be a better coach, learn technique. But one thing that I think is a must, I think you could be the best knowledgeable coach in the world, but if you're shit with people, you're a shit coach. Yeah. It doesn't matter if you've got a PhD, if you've done 10,000 courses, if you can't relate to people, you're shit.
Yeah.
Like, just that simple. I would rather someone come and work with me, I don't know if you feel the same, that is incredible with people and is a new coach that you can train and actually learn the techniques for than anything else. And I think one reason why gyms do become successful is literally just because of the coaching.
Yeah.
I think, and it doesn't matter how good the program is, could be amazing, could be crap, but if your coaches aren't making people have fun, they're going to leave, because that's what makes people stay forever. Right. And, you know, as you literally said it, like, just being part of a community, being part of something, I think that's key. And your brand, the name Athlete Fitness, for someone that is brand new, fresh, like they've never exercised before.
Yeah.
What could they experience or get just from walking in the door, trying to join a class? What are they going to feel? What are they going to get?
They're gonna love it. So that's one thing I think I've worked on in terms of making that experience as seamless as possible. So we have a lovely reception staff that kind of welcome people in, and then I think we always kind of know when it's somebody's first timer because we can see it on the system, and then just making sure that people feels welcome, because naturally, you know, if you look at it from social media outside, or you look at it, you know, it could be quite an intimidating place to come to. Like even the name athlete, like it's, you know, I believe everybody is an athlete, you know, everybody that exercises is an athlete, but it can be quite intimidating. But I think we're very good at just ensuring that everybody gets that personal time with the coach. And you'll see it tomorrow. Like, tomorrow will be chaos. Like it's Send It Saturday, so it's a chaotic session. But we've managed to attract the most incredibly welcoming, and it's not even just through the coaches, it's through the members that we have, the clientele that we have come to the gym. I'm still yet to this day to have anybody come into that gym who is, one of the better word, a knobhead. That I'm still yet to have anybody come through the doors. Like, we've had nearly, I think, probably coming to like 2,000 people come through the doors in the sort of last year, and I've not met a single person like that. So I don't know what it says about us, but it's obviously it's welcoming, so it must be doing all right. Yeah,
well, it sounds like it's doing very well. I'll be the judge tomorrow.
Yeah. Let me know.
Yeah, no, honestly, and that's what I love about, quote, functional training or CrossFit. This is what got me into it the most, was being part of a community, being welcomed. And I was like, I want to be a coach. I want to do that. That's when I was like 19. I was like, that's what I have to do. And I think when you have that environment, it's so good. One thing that you have to check out is the previous episode I did about marketing, because right now you're doing so good at word of mouth. Yeah. And that last episode we did on episode 11, like, it blew my mind. Like, I'm rewatching it because about marketing, building a brand, and we even use fitness examples. Insane. So, like, if you're doing well now, this guy Amir is like literally going to change it, hopefully, and be number one. And this is one thing that he did say was, in a marketplace that is so saturated in anything, you need to give so much value that people are stupid if they don't come to you. People are stupid that they won't be there. And if you have that, you can charge any price you want. Yeah. And when he said that, I was like, it's true, right? So I looked at what we were doing as a company. I was like, right, what are we doing that's different to everyone else? And how can I make it even better, where if they went anywhere else, they'll feel stupid they didn't come. Yeah. Right? And when he said that, I was like, okay, what is no one else? What am I doing better? And how can I make it even better? Right? Like, I can see you thinking, right? Like, cause, like, so you're like, when it comes,
thinking about what things we do.
Yeah. So, like, let's say community, right? You said already you do events, you do things together. It's like, what makes a community really stay, right? Yeah. Like, the person that's gonna, that long-term, lifetime client, what are they truly gonna stay for, right? They're gonna feel like, well, this is what I believe in communities. They're their best friends. Yeah. Your best friends are made there. As soon as you have that, it's done. Yeah. They're never leaving. Like, I worked for a gym for 7 years. Some people are still there just because of their friends are there. Yeah. And when you have that, it's done. So how can you be someone's brand new through the door, their best friend? That's a big question.
Yeah. How can we?
Yeah. How can you do it?
I think I think it comes back to just being relatable and friendly, and also there's, you know, again, it's having people within that community and within that space that, you know, you can rely on to kind of, you know, there's certain people, if it's a pairs workout, I'll be like, just do me a favor. You're like, there's certain people that come to the gym that are the loveliest, kindest, sweetest people, and I'll be like, please, can you just pair with this new person?
Yeah.
They look a bit uneasy.
Yeah.
And you like using the community, like, and using the people to, because as you say, like, it is 100% like you know, people have moved to Dubai, come to the gym, and have created friends for life. You know, obviously, like, all my friends have come through the gym and through fitness and through that space. So I don't think there's a right answer or a wrong answer. I think just being a good person.
No, I love that. And what's the future for the brand of Athlete Fitness? What's the goal? What's the next step for you guys?
So we're focusing on a lot of stuff. So I've taken a bit of a step back from coaching it for the time being, just that focusing on actually, you know, as I said, you know, we've done extremely well, but focusing in a bit more on sort of business. Who knows what the future holds? There's lots of plans. There's lots of plans in terms of, you know, potentially big events, and also, you know, hopefully opening other branches as well, and sort of building on what we've already built now, and just kind of, you know, I genuinely believe what we have and what we have as a model, and how we've done it, and how we're continuing to do it. I feel like I can realistically put that into any community. And I think it can do well with having the right people on board and the right people to kind of grow that. And I think it's all about the people. Like, I'm super privileged to have great business partners. I'm super privileged to have amazing coaches. I'm super privileged to have amazing reception staff, cleaners, that make that whole experience what it is. And without those people, none of the gym wouldn't be as successful as it is. And I'm very lucky to have them, very lucky to have a very supportive community. And I think with that, I think, you know, what I realize is that it's about the people, and I can, you know, with the right people, I can emulate that, because the model as it stands and how the structure of the programming is and everything, it works. The gym works. You'll see tomorrow, it's not a huge space, but, you know, we'll have 45 people in there tomorrow, and the vibe will be unmatched to sort of anywhere else. So, yeah, I think that's it.
No, I love that. And I think the hardest thing that it is, because, you know, you seem like you enjoy being with people and it's great. I think it's actually a really hard step to step away from coaching, I think, because when you're so passionate about fitness, right? I'm the same. But when you're trying to grow and make something better, you have to step away responsibilities to put elsewhere.
Yeah.
And like you said, luckily you have coaches that are truly incredible that can fulfill exactly what you did, but you can then focus somewhere else. And let's say I come back to Dubai in a couple of years. What is there going to be? Are you hoping for another branch? Are you hoping to expand? Are you hoping to just have a bigger community? What would you love to see?
In 2 years' time.
Yeah.
Ooh, in 2 years' time.
I don't mind going big.
I'd love to have multiple gyms across the UAE, multiple athletes across the UAE. That would be amazing. I think, I spent a bit of time 2 weeks away back in the UK. Met with Ollie March on, if you know who he is. Yeah. He's a massive inspiration of mine. Like, I've seen him grow from where he was at to where he is now. And I think, you know, he's done incredibly well, and if I could be anywhere near as successful as him in terms of what he's done and what he's created as a brand, etc., then, you know, I'd be very pleased. I think for me, you know, it's not about financials. It's not about that. It's knowing that I have something so good that I want to offer it to as many people as possible, and have that product and just, you know, build that. Like, you know, for me, I think you know, whether I like it or not, like, I've changed so many people's lives with that gym, and I would love to sort of emulate that and have that environment where I know by when you come through that door, if you've not had a good experience athlete, if you've not, get in touch, please, and let me know. But like to emulate that and put that everywhere across the UAE, because there's so many communities, and a lot of people go to gym for convenience. You know, we're not in the most convenient location, but still people travel to us every day. So I'd love to emulate that and put branches everywhere.
No, that sounds amazing. Yeah. And like you said, if you're connected with people that have, you know, Ollie Marchand has done amazing in terms of branding, but also an elite, incredible athlete as well, right? Which I feel like you're trying to get that balance of as well. Yeah. And being around those types of people with a business mindset, with an athlete mindset, and mixing together, I think is needed.
Yeah.
How do you guys even know each other? Were you like friends from back before?
No, he just came out to Dubai when he's obviously just got his supplement brand, which is incredible. And he, through friends, basically, he came to the gym, trained there. Then he came back out. We did a run, and then when I went back, I actually just went and checked out one of his gyms.
Yes.
And did a run with him, and that's why running's so amazing, that you can just go and run around Victoria Park with incredible athletes like Ola. So, connected through that. And to be fair, I've met so many incredible people through fitness from different events and stuff that I've been at. So, fitness it's been great for obviously meeting people.
No, I absolutely love it. And for yourself, like, how do you actually get that balance of business, running a gym, training, recovery, like trying to have a social life a little bit? How do you get that balance?
Maybe ask me in 2 years. I'm still struggling. I feel, I'm doing better in terms of balance. I think I think for me, it's about finding routine now. I was so used to obviously routine when I was in the Marines. It was all about routine, knowing exactly where you needed to be at what time. And I think I'm honing in on that a little bit more. And now I think the fact that I've taken a little bit of a step back from coaching, so I'm not set hours in terms of where I need to be. But yeah, still finding that balance because now it's obviously, even today I've had meetings this morning, like quite a few meetings this morning. And it's all learning curve, I never really thought I'd be in this position. I'm super privileged to be in the position that I'm in. But yeah, still learning. Ask me in 2 years.
Oh man,
maybe I'll have mastered it, and I'll tell everyone the sweet spot.
Future episodes coming up on how you tripled the gyms or whatever, and that's how we're so good. And what is one message could be athletes at your gym, people listening, that you'd want people to take away from today's podcast?
Oh, big one. It would be to just enjoy the process, and if you're not where you want to be, just like be consistent and listen to the coaches, listen to the people that are giving you the advice, but just enjoy the process. Like you are exactly where you need to be at the time that you are. And that's not to say that you can't be in a different position, but just enjoy it. Like life is about enjoyment, and whether I make it into the elite 15 or not, or whether I grow more branches or not, it's just like I've learned to kind of, I didn't, for the first sort of year of the gym, I didn't really enjoy any of the moments of it. I found the stress of it a bit too much, and it was a lot. But I think from moving forward, I've learned that now it's all just about enjoying every moment, trying to enjoy all the small bits, all the big bits, all the tedious bits, all the things that don't go your way but are lessons in life, and just growing from there, basically. So enjoy the process. That was a long-winded way to say
it. But I love it. I love it though. And because, that's just a nice saying, enjoy the process, but giving that some depth on why, I think is key, right?
Yeah.
The way we end the show is always with quick fire questions.
Okay, here we go.
They are never ever quick fire,
yeah,
but try and be as quick as you can. Okay. The hardest part is actually reading my handwriting, but it's going to be good. If you had to drop one exercise from HYROX from the race, because you just don't like it, what would it be?
Burpees. Sorry, that was not quick. I was not quick. Burpees.
What would you say is the hardest station?
Wall balls.
I 1000% agree. And strength and endurance, I believe, is so important. Which one do you think is the most important, and why?
Endurance now.
Why?
It's just becoming more of that race. It's not about massively, if you look at the top level athletes, it's not massively about strength. It's almost about how quickly you can clear lactate out of your muscles, even in terms of like the sled push and stuff like that. And most of the exercises don't require a huge amount of strength. They still require a bit, but not as much. Definitely more endurance.
Of course. And for yourself, what is the worst workout you've ever done that you remember?
I feel like it wouldn't be a workout. I feel like it'd be something from the Marines. Probably, to be fair, probably HYROX is probably the worst workout. As I said.
And you keep going back.
Weird guy.
No, I love it. And what is your favorite cheat meal?
Favorite cheat meal? Oh God, I have a lot of cheat meals.
You have a lot of cheat meals?
Yeah, I'm pretty bad.
You spoke about all this recovery stuff, but cheat meals is...
Well, it's just a balance, isn't it? It's all about balance. My go-tos are, I've got a few at the minute. Five Guys, Papa John's, I've got too many. That's not.
Oh, really? There's a lot.
There's a lot.
So is it burgers, pizzas? Is that the way to be?
Burgers and pizzas. No, it's definitely not the way to be. But it's all about.
No. For a cheat meal for you.
Yeah, for me, yeah.
And what is one motto? So one motto or phrase that you live by?
Ooh. Probably. That's a big one. I feel like those. I don't know. Probably the hardest thing you've done is the hardest thing you've done. I feel like I feel like every time I get to kind of go into a deep dark hole in an event, it's an opportunity to go that little bit harder and push past what I believe my limits were. And even like I got a competition next week, which is Battle of the Oaks, which is basically it's a 5-person event. It's a 15k bike, 10k run, 7k ski, and a 5k row, or something like that, or 7k row, 5k ski, and that's complete as fast as you can. So it's basically like 20-30 second bursts of just pure redlining every single time, and it's like every single time being like holding on to that same pace that I started with on every single one. And I mean that's not physical, like that's all about mental and how hard you can go. And I think I bit mentally obviously probably unstable, but I think or unhinged, but I just love I love doing hard stuff. I love like pushing myself to the absolute brink. So yeah, that was also a long way of getting to that point.
No, I love it. There's I don't know who said this, but everyone thinks you're insane until you become a genius. It's the same thing of everyone thinks that, you know, you're pushing your body too far until you achieve something great.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing.
Yeah.
But honestly, absolute pleasure to have you on the episode.
Thank you.
It's been absolutely amazing. We're going to tag your gym and all your accounts down below on all platforms. Guys, if you're on YouTube, obviously subscribe, Spotify and Apple. Make sure you check out the Instagrams as well. But thank you very much for coming on.
No, thank you for having me. It's been great.